What's going on, guys? It's Brian here. Just wanted to showcase my Fire King Snake Eyes Azamina deck. I've been playing this for about a month and a half-ish, pretty much almost since the last set dropped, maybe like a couple weeks after that. But it's been treating me pretty well. I won a couple tournaments with it, topped a few too, just like locals and stuff. When I went to a regional, I took a Snake Eyes Kashtira Fiendsmith deck, so if you guys are interested in seeing that, I got my in-my with that, but nothing too crazy. I think I went like 6-3 with that deck, so yeah, pretty much it. But let's get into this one. My approach for this was just to go, I wouldn't say it's like completely standard, but I just wanted to max out on consistency, and it's been treating me really well, so I figured I'd share it. First of all, 3 Volcanics. I've seen people have been dropping this down. I could see maybe 2, but I just don't want to lose to like bricking and like Tempai and stuff, because this can help you play under Shifter as long as you have a different fire to pop. And you can go search Onyx or a fire if you don't have Onyx in hand, and then you can search it, special it, search your Fire King Island or Sanctuary for follow-up, and then since this will become a level 1 if you have Onyx, then yeah, you just overlay for Fucho, and I'll show I'm playing in the extra deck, so that's pretty nice. And then the effect to summon the OG Garunix is pretty good, because you can summon Zombie Vampire and stuff, along with any other rank 8s like the Garunix Xyz. So this card's probably the best card in the deck, definitely the best starter at least, so 3 on that. I do side 1 out typically when it goes second, unless it's like a back row heavy deck. So next part of the engine is just 2 Kieran, 1 Arvada. I had tried pre-Kieran before, but it was just too bricky. Drawing 2 together sucks, and it's only good in a perfect world where you like see a starter plus this. And it's honestly not bad having your stuff like imperm. You can usually play with like one other extender, but I will say drawing this, like the Ulcanix plus Kieran's like super broken, so that's nice. And then Arvada is usually like the combo line that you go for if you get trolled, which is really popular right now. Usually I end on like Whale, Princess Engrave, IP Engrave, and Arvada, so that's usually enough. And then possibly Kieran in hand and Onyx for follow-up on the standby if it comes to that. And then for our Winged Beast part of that, it's the Onyx, Sacred King Garnix, and the OG Garnix. Pretty self-explanatory here. Just be careful when you pop this that it's mandatory to special, and you may blow up your entire board. Then for the Snake Eyes portion, I just play like the 4 Snake Eyes monsters. The Oak gets sided out in games 2 and 3, depending on the matchup. Like if it's a grindy deck, then this stays in. If it's not a grindy deck, it comes out. Drawing Poplar sucks, as always. Flame Merge is glued to my hand, but we still be winning games sometimes. I think there's a tournament where I drew this every single time, and then like half those times I had Poplar with it, so it was like very ass. So I would say that's the only downside of the deck, is like this engine is so strong, but it also kind of sucks. So it's always, I used to try to like lead with the Snake Eyes cards, but instead I'm leading with Fire King cards and then using this at the end. So it's been working out, going in that approach. Same thing with the Witch. I think if I have Witch though, I usually try to have this like bait everything. So 3 Witch, you could cut it to 2, but I have like 3 just for consistency. I do side 1 out, so as you can see, like most of these cards are pretty much easy side out targets when you're going second. So I keep 3 in when I go first specifically. And then, which also kind of somewhat helps you play around roll. You get some bodies at least. And then I'll just go over the like non-engine like hand traps and stuff. So just the 1 call by, that's a non-engine spot. 3 Dominus, 3 Imperm, 3 Flawless, and 3 Ash. These are pretty much like the bread and butter cards you need for this deck. Some people like don't even play this, but I don't know. I guess if you don't have it, no big deal. And then I don't play draw, as you can see here. A lot of lists do play it that are like 44, so if you want to use like my deck as a template for that, then just throw 3 draws in, because it's 41 cards. That pretty much fulfills that requirement. And I would say the only other flex spots is like these and like an Olganex. So like if you wanted to just not play 44, you could just drop these and probably put it in the draw, and that'd probably work really well. But for me, like I said, I'd rather have those actual bodies, because the downside to this deck is if you get stopped, typically you don't have like a follow-up at all. Whereas like if you get drolled, like if you don't die, you still live. So I'd rather just have the bodies to work with, honestly. I don't really care about drawing droll. It's not super crazy, and everyone plays around with this format anyway. When you're going Olganex pop, search, instead of searching Ponix for island, you just go Garnix. I think I've done that every single time just to play around drolls. Like I'm still ending on my full end board, my opponent just goes -1, so they can't usually crack that board anyway. So I don't mind not playing droll. It only like pretty much is good when my hands are really bad. So then for the spells, we just have the 2, the island and the sanctuary. Sanctuary is really good for making the sacred Garnix or the Hyang, whatever his name is, on your opponent's turn, or just whenever. It's really good. Then I'm playing 2 bonfire in a pot. The reason why I'm playing 2 bonfires because there's realistically no good level 1 pyro to search other than Poplar. And I mean, sure, like if you have no other starters, you're gonna want to see this. But at the same time, like I said, realistically, you're gonna use this as an extender, and I'm gonna go Olganex. So sometimes I'll go normal summon Olganex if I want to try to bait with Fire King Engine, depending on what the matchup is. And then if not, then I'll just go Poplar to Bonfire, try to search, you know, let that get hand trapped, and then you go Olganex pop the Poplar to keep playing. So that's one way to go around things. And then just like searching Oak and stuff, that's not like a real thing. Realistically, this is only good like in a top deck scenario when you didn't even open the Snake Eyes engine in the first place. So 2 is perfectly fine for me. And then I'm playing the pot. I can go over what I pot banish, but it's mainly like my OTK line and just kind of like some of the more greedy cards that just assume that you already have your stuff set up. And this is just really good for digging, and so far it hasn't conflicted. Like, yeah, you can choose to like want to draw or use this, but honestly that doesn't really come up. And then I'm playing the Wanteds and 2 Deception, the Hollowed, and the Original. In the pure version, you could argue to bump this up possibly, but I'm liking it. Just like the standard ratio at 1. The 2 Deception, I've seen people cut it to 1. You could. This is another card that gets sided out when I go second specifically. But it's just nice having access to another card. You know, if they're on Droll, then sure, you can probably cut it down to 1. Because realistically, Droll only hurts when they open this, which is why people like don't play Droll, or don't play any more of this in the first place, because it loses to like every hand trap, Ogre, Ash, and Droll. So even then, like, I don't know, I feel like you're still just getting something out of it, so it's pretty nice. At 2, when you like activate 1 and you have Witch in hand, and then, you know, they try to pop it preemptively before you activate the effect, and then you just Witch set another one. It's pretty nice. So that's pretty much the main deck. For the extra deck, we'll go over the Xyz first. So like I mentioned, the Fucho, you can summon this with Bonfire into Ash into Poplar, or pretty much Volcanix Pop Fire, search Ponix, make a level 1, make this, like I mentioned, under Shifter. Pretty much do it against every Shifter deck because they can't out it unless they Kaiju it. So that's pretty nice. Zombie Vampire and the Hyang. This card's really good. It's part of your disruptions. It's pretty much like the second to last interruption for your full set when you end on like Arvada plus the Amber Whale. And you still have Sanctuary up, so that's really nice. And there's combos that you can do to pop like the Azamina fusions to get searches too, the Rusiliago. So that's something you can do. You can like Flame Birch, put in the spell and trap zone, and then use his effect, not the destruction effect on monsters, but the one on spells and traps. And then that way you can get like a second search, and then you can like go back into your Azamina stuff to play. And then we also have the Zombie Vampire, which is card's really good. I know some people dropped it for like the Photon Xyz guy. I guess you could do that. I don't know, I just like basically playing through my opponent's interruptions, and then worst case scenario I can just slap this over, and as long as I get a singular monster and they have a Darker Fire, I basically just win. So because you can Z-Lantis OTK, which I am playing, which you'll see like pretty soon. And then I'll just go over the two fusions real quick. Yeah, this card is the one I was referring to with the Xyz combo, because if it gets destroyed you search, and then you know, just typical negate. Nothing really more to say here other than, you know, this card's one card starter, or I guess 1.5 with like the card that you attributed for the deception. So, you know, you can search original and then just send this and then get it back, and then you can end with a negate on top of it, like this negate. And then you pretty much only just make this to play around like what you know is going to be set up, so it's pretty nice. And then for the links, the one link one is just the anima. I play it specifically because it works with the Charmer package Into the Dark, because you can reborn your opponent's witch, so that's always nice. And then you can start your engine, and then, you know, of course the Hida, pretty good, pretty mandatory. For the other link 2s, we have our IP package here, and then like the Sunlight Wolf for you to, like when you mill Kieran or have to pop Ash off of like Ultimix, you can add it back. So this card's pretty good. I've seen some people play Heat Soul. That's somewhat getting a little bit popular, but personally I don't have the space in my extra deck. I feel like you would have to cut Dark for that. And I just appreciate the utility of Dark more because you can make Princess without having any fires, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, you can make Heat Soul using these too, so it's kind of a lot of resources, but I guess it's not that bad. And then the one Princess, yeah, when I first started I didn't really like utilize this enough, but now as I'm like mastering, I guess, or trying to master this deck, just been coming up a lot more as the interruptions, so it's pretty nice. Love Princess. And then Link 4s, the Raging Phoenix to OTK, Z-Lantis to assist in that, and then Amber Whale is part of your own board. To be honest, sometimes you can like sequence incorrectly where you don't get the most value out of this, so you just want to be wary where you're sequencing your interruptions, where this can like get popped and stuff like that. So, because sometimes like your opponent's just trying to play around this, so you're never gonna get that value. But honestly, if he sticks on the board, like you kind of just win in that scenario. Like the longer you can hold this, I feel like you win, just because like they have to answer it later, and that's really good. And then finally we have the side deck. I think this is the part where it somewhat strays a little bit, but you're gonna still see some common patterns that people play because it's just very optimal to play certain cards. I'm playing 3 Cosmic because I have a lot of Centurion players in my local areas that I play. Also, it's okay against the mirror. It's not that crazy, but it's just really Cosmic's just a really skillful card. You can just like hit floodgates and stuff like that. I would still like side in like 1 or 2 versus the mirror because like people play Skill Drain and Anti-Spell and all that. So you can just pretty much, you don't have to pop Fire King Island. You can just get rid of their floodgates. So yeah, I feel like this is pretty mandatory, and then like it's really hard to lose to Centurion and stuff when you have this in your deck. Also, it's good against like Labyrinth or something if you have Labyrinth, because you can just chain this to the ladies, so pretty nice. I'm playing a small thrust package, but I am playing 3D Bear because I also have been having a lot of Tempai, but lately I haven't been seeing them as much, so I might consider dropping this down, but it's still really good against like Centurion and random decks like that. And Ritual Beast and just really anything. This is just pretty much good against every shifter deck other than Blue Wanderers. So like you can use it against Ritual Beast, Tempai, all that stuff. It's pretty clean. It's gonna be pretty good against Ryzeal when you use when that drops in like a couple weeks. So I feel like this is like the most you can probably switch these out for something else possibly, but I'm liking it. With a 2 thrust, because the thrust DDG is really nice. And then also like thrust was really good when I first started playing. It hasn't been performing as crazily as before, just because I've been getting like suboptimal hands when I draw like 1 or 2 of these, so that's just pretty unlucky honestly. But you know, when you do have an optimal game state where you have like a playable hand and you have this, is really good because you can just drop DDG on your opponent. Whether you can build your full board and they interrupted you, or at least like Arvada plus Amboel plus DDG pretty much win because you just use all your interruptions, get as much follow-up as possible, and then flip this at the end when they're using the Fire King cards. So that's really good. And this is just like really good against the Snake Eyes portion as well. And then for the last few cards, oh yeah, I guess this also counted for the thrust package. This is also flex spot, so if you wanted to fit in Droll or Parelia, I'm not playing Parelia just because I don't own any. And even when I like use them in tournaments and regionals and stuff, I never drew them. I know that's probably not the best logic to go by, but it just didn't work for me. But you could like swap these out for 3 Droll or 3 Parelia. Parelia might be better after the next set drops for Ryzeal specifically, I think. And then I'm playing 1 Skyburn. The Skyburn was really good against back row decks and just lower matchups. Anything that's, you already know, like the Fire Kings are gonna thrive in. So this did win me a game against like a Dynamorphia recently. We were both undefeated, and he had a Judgment-esque card plus Rexstrom and a Rivalry. And yeah, this pretty much just answered with the line that I have. I went Ulcanix, and I had Ulcanix, Fire King Island, pop, search Ponix, summon Ponix and Garunix, OG, and then search this, and that pretty much outed everything, and like literally any 1-card starter would get away with that, which I had Deception and Witch also, so pretty cool. And then the last card I've been seeing people play a little bit more is the DD Crow. This is really good. The only time it was ever not good, like every time I activated this and resolved it and it actually banished something, I won. You can hit Garnixes of your opponents, you can hit Princesses of your opponents. Yeah, it's really just like a very skillful card to draw, and then you can pretty much shape your boards. There is the argument that you can also search it off Dark Charmer if they Ghost Ogre it, because people typically, you know, they want to pop that because they know you're not going to get value out of it, but in reality you do, because you can search this. So that's pretty nice. I use it against Branded, and then like you can stop End Phase Albion and stuff like that. You can banish Albazes. Yeah, it's just a really solid card overall. I even sided against like Memento and stuff. Like you can hit like just whatever works within their sequencing. Like you can hit like their main deck monster. You could hit the fusion before it banishes to search, or whatever effect that it has. It gives them a lot of value. So this card was really good whenever I had it. It was like literally one scenario where I was playing against Orcus recently, And he goes Orchestrate a Return, pitches World the Wand, which summons from Banished. But yeah, so that was the only time it was bad because my opponent had an extension. Basically, he got lucky and drew his brick, and it like worked perfectly for him. But other than that, this card was really good and performed really well for me. But yeah, guys, that was pretty much it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, any feedback about the deck. Like I said, it's performed really well. Like, it's somewhat standardish, but I think it's just optimized for consistency. So if that's what you're looking for, you're not really worried about like grind games in the mirror too much and stuff like that. You're just trying to play and then see what you can do with the best with what you have. I feel like that's a really good mentality to go by, and it's worked out for me for this deck. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and catch you on the next one, guys.